Hello, hi. My name's Harry Schwartz. I've been making gefilte fish for the holidays, for the Jewish holidays, for now probably about 16, maybe about 50 some years. Today, I want to make it available for you to do just what I've done with as much enjoyment and with as much skill. And I'm going to take you through several motions. First, I've got some water boiling, and we're going to cut up some celery, carrots, and onions. We're going to put it in. I'm getting in my car and driving, and I'm going down to my local fishmonger, who you're going to meet a little bit later, I hope. His name is Sam, and I'm going to be picking up fish that's ground up for me, and we're going to talk about that in a little while too. Sam has worked with me. I want to introduce you to, how long, Sam? Maybe, I think 30
It's been
years, could that be?
It's been a long time. Since this store's been open at least.
Oh, more, but over in Edgewater.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Edgewater.
So maybe it has been that long.
I
Yeah,
think so,
it's been
yeah.
quite a while.
All right, so he is skilled at, he happens to be now managing the meat department, but which I hate to have him not be in the fish department, but he is training someone to help us. But he has stood by me twice a year, each holiday. I can't say enough about his dedication, devotion. And he's just a good guy.
And you're a great customer.
This is we're going to go into this in depth when we get home. But this is ground fish, and we'll go over the ingredients. This is the bones that is left from some of the ground fish, and so now we take this, we get back, we're going to get in the kitchen, and we are going to make us some gefilte fish. Okay, so now the fun begins. I just came in with the ground up fish, which is very necessary for what we're going to do. This is the fish that the meat was taken out of that go in there. These are actually going to go in a pot with some boiling water. So let's get that started. These are the bones. This is snapper fish, which is 1/3 of this, and we'll talk about that. As I said, I have some vegetables. Celery, carrots, and onions are boiling. So now in goes the fish bodies. They're going to actually create some bulk. Now's the time to get serious. Going to put the old apron on. Okay, so this actually is a really important part of the whole procedure. It's not difficult. Now again, earlier I cut up celery, carrots, and onions, put in salt and pepper, some garlic, some sugar, and I put it on to boil. Went off to my fish person Sam, got the bones that they use, to take the fish out and fillet it. He saved those, and now I've come back and I'm creating the stock. This is going to boil. I'm going to bring the boil up just a little bit more. This is going to boil like this while I'm actually making the fish balls. When this is and this is going to give this about another, I don't know, half an hour to an hour to work into a stock. And you'll see, just to let you think ahead, is you'll see we're going to be making the fish balls. We're going to be dropping them into that as the boil. So the next thing for us to do is just to demonstrate a little bit of cutting up the vegetables for you, and something special too. For those of you that do not have access to someone to grind the fish for you, I'm going to actually use a fish grinder myself to show you a process that you can easily use if you do not have access to somebody that can do the grinding for you. Okay, I just want to take a moment, a break, to let you know that this production is a combination. This is a combination of Schwartz, and Schwartz. This is my youngest grandson, Milo, and he is going to be production manager. He's going to actually do the splicing in, the creation of graphics, and he's working the sound system now, along with his brother, who you're going to meet in a little while, because we got Owen, his older brother, who's 14 years old, is going to be helping me do some of the grinding of the onions and the mixing of the fish. Okay, so let's, I'm just going to cut up a few vegetables to add in there, just to reinforce the procedure that I use to get it done. So I'm going to do an onion, which I did again previously. I'm just going through it to reinforce. Actually, I think I need a little bit more onion, a little bit more vegetables in there from what I had, because let's put this aside, because it looks a little teeny bit on the thin side. So adding a few more vegetables now. And the good part about that too is that these vegetables will not have been cooked quite as long as the others. A little bit of the fresh vegetables in as well. So, and it's a rough dice. I'm not mincing them. We will later on mince up the onions to go into the fish itself, but not for the stock. Very simple, just the way you make any stock, whether it be chicken soup or beef stock, whatever, where you're using celery, carrots, onions as a main base. So just so that you don't think that the only way you're going to be able to make gefilte fish is if you find a fish department in some store and it has to be ground for you. It does not have to be ground. I frequently make 10 pounds of fish, and so that's a lot to grind. But if you want a smaller portion, there's no problem. This is a grinder that's been, as far as I know, in my family maybe for 70 years. I think that it's possible that my grandmother had used this. I know my mother did, and this is how we did our grinding ourselves for many years. We even did chopping ourselves for many years. So basically, this is just the ground of fish that is going to go into this recipe, but it's done very quickly with a grinding source. Push it in. Very efficient. Just as efficient as electric grinding. I think that the fish that I'm going to show you now that we're going to use was done electrically. But you can see very quickly, maybe in 10 minutes, depending upon the different. This is this is a fillet of cod. You can have fillet of rockfish. You can have grouper. You can have any fish that has scales on it. And this is going to go into our recipe. Does this pan show on? Okay. And as you saw a little bit earlier, but this is the fish that was prepared for me, and that's going to start our process of working out to make the fish balls itself. A really important ingredient of the gefilte fish is the onions, and so we're gonna grind the onions. Oops. Ah, nice. Looks good. As a start, looks real good. So, we're going to be grinding to get about 2 full cups of onions. I've started with this. So let's make some more. Looks good. Really want pulverized onions, and I'm just by eye looking to see the cups. Thinking also in terms of how much fish is going to absorb this many onions. I got a feeling I'm going to change this to maybe even 4 cups of onions. Okay, so one of the things that could be a problem with the onions is in the fish is you don't want a lot of just onion juice, because that's going to weaken the texture. So you can squeeze off the juice from the onion, or you can do it the way I do it. You can put it into a cheesecloth. And you see, you'd be amazed at how much water is in there. I don't want that water in there into the fish. I just really want onions, okay? And we're going to need. This was 2 cups with the liquid. I just want to see what this looks like. Just that was 2 cups of ground onion. I don't think that's enough onion, so we're gonna change this recipe, and so I'm going to go back and be grinding some more onion. Probably another 2 cups, and water squeezed off. So we'll be back in a bit. Basically, we have about a little over 4 cups of onions, with all of the onion juice expressed out either by pressing with your fingers in a bowl or using cheesecloth. And this is we're going to start to mix this into the fish itself. And notice that the fish has almost a salmon-like color, and that's simply because we're using salmon as part of our mix. Salmon and cod gives it more of the white looking, as well as the onion snapper. That's our those are our 3 mixed equally in parts, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Okay, so next we're going to get some eggs in this. We're going to get salt and pepper, and we're going to get matzo meal, and then we're going to be blending this into a mixture. Okay, now we're going to add 5 eggs into the blender. This will probably look like a lot of salt to you, and everybody's has individual tastes in what they do, but I'm going to add, this is a lot of fish, and fish needs salt. So I'm going to add 2 heaping teaspoons of salt, and I'm going to add 2 heaping teaspoons of pepper, and I'm going to add some sugar. Teaspoon of sugar, and we're going to blend that. So now is the time to introduce you to the other Schwartz. This is my 14-year-old grandson. I have 2 others. They're older. So he's like number 3 in the pecking order. Milo is number 4 by way of age. He's going to help me out because the fish, the kneading and turning and working of the ingredients, there's a lot of different things going on in there. Eggs, matzo meal, you've got onions, and in order to really blend it, it takes time. So you're going to go over and you're going to do the mixing for me.
This is proper. Am I doing it right?
Yeah, that's it. That's all there is to it. Okay, so we've mixed it probably about 15-20 minutes or so, and it's looking pretty and it's kind of stiff. And so one of the tests that I like to do before I taste it is I like to form it and see just how it feels and forms in my hands. My hands are wet. I try to pick about the right amount of the size that I want. I don't want them too big. It should hold together pretty good. I mean, it's it's a firm mix. Getting ready to drop it into the water. So now almost finished and almost ready to go into the fish stock. Wash my hands again. Now I want to see whether I can taste salt. We made a little test to see the consistency. It's very, very nice consistency. Now the question is how much salt and how much pepper. What is it? I can't do this without tasting it because it's pretty good. I almost always add a little salt. I think the ingredients are just perfect. Very, very good. In case you're wondering, I mean, if you like Japanese food and you like raw fish, I mean, it's really very good. Especially we had a little wasabi to go with it. Don't even need any soy sauce. Very good. I think we're ready to drop it in the soup. Okay, I've wet my fingers. I've scooped up what I think would be about the size of a baseball, maybe, I don't know, a little bit less than a baseball. And just working it back and forth, and I'm going to drop it into the stock mix in a second, okay? I made the fish ball up, and I'm going to just drop it right into the mix. Make it into a fish ball. Drop it right next to it, counterclockwise. Wet my hands. Make it into a fish ball. Okay, so we're getting close to finishing up here. We got just really one more left to do, and then we got the hard work of cleaning the dishes, which is kind of what I do now, because we're going to boil this now for an hour and a half on a very gentle simmer. But what I want you to see, because this is really perfect. We Schwartzes did a really good job on this. As to getting it just ideal in every aspect, because this is what I like. I like all the bones are down the bottom, all the vegetables are down the bottom. The pot has its nice stock to it, and you can even see this is already starting to cook. See how the color is changing? See, they're turning white somewhat almost, and they're up almost close to the top, and this is a little teeny bit over 5 pounds of dressed down fish. It means that probably they had to buy about 10 pounds of bones with fish with heads and bones in order to yield this. So now, hour and a half, we'll be coming back and you'll be watching me take them out, put them in a pan, put a little bit of paprika on them, and get them ready to go into the refrigerator. Okay, 1 hour and a half later, I have just turned the heat off. They are just sitting there lovely. I'm going to let this cool down a little bit. I'm going to come back in about 5 minutes. Just let some of the steam off, and then we're going to take those out and start piling them into a dish to get them chilled up. Okay, so I've just scooped up underneath, treating them gently, dropping them into the bowl. Just take very gently, kick it around a little bit, let it drain off. I have a draining spoon, but it's being washed right now. They have a good feel of consistency, and doesn't look like anything's going to fall apart. They're firm. One of the mistakes I made many years ago, remember I squeezed all the water off of the onions. Well, before I knew better, I just dumped the onions, juice and all, into the mix, and that would make the mix kind of liquidy, and they were very loose, and so when you dropped them in or any stress to them, they kind of cracked, fell apart. But believe it or not, even falling apart, they were delicious. We want to pour off some of the broth, soup if you will. I do have some people that just really do enjoy having the soup, like I said, the soup and the gefilte fish at the same time. So I usually save this, and I save it also as a stock, and I save it as a soup. And, the bones are going to go out into my garden. I think I'll pour a little bit more. The bones of vegetables and everything, I'm just going to dump it on my compost pile in the yard, and this will decompose. Now we also have this wonderful soup. Let's taste it again, because I think it's even richer now. Where's my little spoon up there? Because I stirred it, like you saw me stirring just a little bit ago. So let's see what we got here now. Wow, even richer. Even richer. Wow. I might have to have a little cup of that tonight with some oyster crackers in it.
Oh my gosh, this house smells like fish.
Interesting, even that I'm not going to let this go to waste. This is compost material. This is made from all the scraps of food and fruit skins and things like that. You call this black gold because this is what's wonderful to go into to my garden, and so it's made up of decomposed food. I'm just going to cover that up, and the worms and nature will take over, and I'll just let that sit. I won't go there. Oh, maybe for about 3 or 4 weeks, and when I come back in 3 or 4 weeks, that won't be there. It'll just be kind of looking just like this, like brown dirt. Now, in later in the season, when things are kind of going still in the garden, I'll pick this up and take it back out to the garden and put it in to make the vegetables grow even fuller. This is basically this is the composted soil, and guess what? Out of that you can grow parsley, and into my fish stock goes the parsley as well as the basil, because I like the two fresh, call them vegetables, I guess, spices if you want, go into my fish stock. And that's the continuity of it all. Composting, building up the vegetables into the soup, and that's how it all happens. When you go to something as intensive as making gefilte fish, which takes sometimes as much as 4 hours or so of stuff, you want to respect it and make it appetizing. You don't want to just throw it on a plate and eat it. It becomes more special if you dress it up, so to speak. So my feeling on the plate is that I like to see the color of a red tomato, the color of horseradish, and a green, and some parsley. They're traditional at Passover also for their color and different things that go into that. But they make the fish look attractive, and maybe even make it taste better.